Hi, I'm Barry Mitchell, and welcome to another socially distanced edition of Simply Science. I'm speaking to you again this month from my home, and thank you for giving me a reason to get dressed. Now let's talk science. A few months ago, we visited Hunter College, where a group of scientists successfully killed cancer cells using olive oil. Here's Anne Riddell.
Is a powerful weapon in the fight against cancer sitting in your kitchen? It could be, according to research out of Hunter College that shows some extra virgin olive oils that are rich in a component called oleocanthal can kill cancer cells.
When we put this compound, it's called oleocanthal, on the cancer cells, they died within as short as an hour.
So what was your reaction when you saw this?
I was aghast, and I said, "Whoa, this is astonishing." And it didn't. It didn't have that effect on normal cells. It was not totally benign in the normal cells, but there was a clear difference between cancer cells being more sensitive to this compound, and the fact that it was working in a very short time indicated that it was a unique kind of cell death.
In addition to Hunter, the study was done by scientists from Weill Cornell Medicine, Rutgers University, and Albert Einstein College of Medicine. Limor Gorin, who is the study lead author, decided to test not just oleocanthal directly, but olive oil itself. She explained she started with one that had been sent to her from Greece, and then included others.
So I went down to the supermarket and I bought another olive oil. And I repeated the same thing, and I put the supermarket olive oil on one plate of sales, and again, that olive oil from Corfu that's supposedly good on another plate of cells. And lo and behold, I came back the next morning, the cancer cells that got the supermarket olive oils are happy and proliferating, and the cancer cells that got the other olive oils are all dead again. My assumption was that one olive oil has much more oleocanthal, and therefore it was able to kill cancer cells. And then it took me about 3 years to prove that hypothesis, but I was able to prove it.
So the first question that came to my mind when I heard about this, how do I know which olive oil is best? Well, there is an easy way that consumers can figure that out right at home, and it's a taste test.
The oleocanthal molecule is a molecule that activates a particular taste bud that exists only in the back of our throat, and that's a taste for a peppery, kind of like black pepper, not chili pepper, taste, so it stings the back of our throat. And because oleocanthal activates that taste bud, oils that have a lot of oleocanthal would feel very peppery or stinging in the back of our throat. And it's something that's very easy to tell.
Very good. Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Salute.
I've got it too.
We tried a blind taste test of 3 different olive oils.
Okay, that's got to be the most.
Researchers say the taste test is important because olive oils sold in U.S. grocery stores aren't labeled for oleocanthal content. And they add that while there is evidence about oleocanthal and preventing cancer, for now there are not enough studies looking at it therapeutically. Nonetheless, their results aren't mind-boggling.
We've done experiments on mice that are cancer-prone. These mice always get pancreatic cancer by the time they're about 9 or 10 weeks old, and we're able to extend their lifespan significantly. When you translate it to human years, it's equal to like 20 years.
The bottom line, diet does make a difference in so many ways, and the right olive oil could help.
There are things in diet that can really be preventative for cancer.
So have you added more olive oil to your own diet?
Absolutely. Yeah, I take a swig every day or every other day, and I think it's a prescription for good health and reduced incidence of cancer.
Well, cheers to our health.
Cheers again.
I'm Anne Riddell for Simply Science.
Telehealth, video chatting with a physician, was seen as a convenient way of seeing your doctor without leaving the comfort of your home. Nowadays, it's become even more significant as a way of avoiding exposure to coronavirus. Here's Gilliam.
We encourage everyone to maximize use of telehealth to limit exposure to the virus.
The use of telemedicine had been on the rise in recent years, but in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic, the president thrust it to the forefront of medical care with his White House announcement that televisits would be covered by Medicare and Medicaid. Prior to the pandemic, telehealth had been gaining in popularity. Mount Sinai's program, Mount Sinai Now, has been up and running for 2.5 years. And Dr. Nick Jhun says it offers advantages to both the healthcare provider and the patient.
We'd like to be able to meet the patients where they are. It is better for them, it's more convenient. And when we talk about infectious disease and contagious illness and stuff, it might actually be better to have patients treated and diagnosed and treated at home rather than having them come into a busy waiting room or doctor's office where they could potentially infect others.
Long before coronavirus hit, Jill Carroll, the IT project manager for Mount Sinai, started using the service as a patient.
One time I called at like 6:30 in the morning on a Saturday, but it's really easy to do. I mean, I have the app downloaded on my phone and I just sign in. It asks you a set of questions and then you are taken to, quote unquote, a waiting room.
She says it's convenient because while you're waiting, they can play background music and you can continue to do other things. The app can run in the background until it's your turn. Here's how it works.
So I have the Mount Sinai Now app downloaded on my phone. I can sign in with my fingerprint. It just, the first thing that comes up is request a visit. First thing it asks you is where will it take place, because the doctor has to be licensed in the state that you're in to be able to treat you. So it knows I'm in New York, because I've used it before. What type of service? I think the only option is general medicine and then contact number.
Then, after a short wait, the doctor appears and you'll have your telehealth consultation. The doctor will ask the patient to describe their symptoms and check their temperature if necessary. And then the doctor will be able to make a diagnosis and even prescribe medicine by contacting the pharmacy with the information the patient provided.
It's essentially using Skype. So if you've used Skype or FaceTime or WhatsApp, it's the exact same thing. You're just speaking to a physician and talking about your health issue, basically. It's the same conversation that I would have had with a provider in an office.
So long as they can initiate a video connection, and every phone and tablet can do that now, and most desktops and laptops can do that too. So long as they can have that two-way video visit, we supply a secure means of doing that so that we can diagnose them and treat them in a secure, HIPAA-compliant manner.
To get on board, a person would search for the hospital and download the app or follow the prompts to connect.
Mount Sinai Now is a virtual urgent care. So the kind of things that you would go to an urgent care for, like cough, cold, flu-like symptoms, even a sprained ankle or some nausea, vomiting, that sort of thing, headaches. This is the kind of thing that would work well for virtual care as well.
Telehealth is not for everyone or every condition. If your symptoms are not life-threatening, it could be effective. On the other hand, if it's much more serious, there's a system in place to get a patient the proper care.
We try to provide that concierge type service, where if we know we can't handle the situation right then and there, we can get them to the right point, the right endpoint as soon as possible.
As part of telehealth, Mount Sinai also offers Click for Care, a text chat service, and remote monitoring, which allows paramedics to do things like administer IVs and EKGs to patients in their homes.
This is a great program that has really helped avoid hospitalizations for a number of patients.
And in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic, telehealth may have found its niche.
I think we're providing a good service for doctors' offices and for emergency departments, especially if we worry about infectious disease and the spreading of that disease. We can keep some of our sicker patients out of the waiting room.
Many insurance companies are also covering telehealth video conferences. Chats usually aren't covered, but are cheap, about $25 per chat. That's a lot cheaper than a visit to the ER, making them popular for many. Mike Gilliam for Simply Science.
When you think fish farming, and who hasn't, you think salmon or even bronzino, like that fish farm we visited in Connecticut. Well, our Ari Goldberg made a PQ visit to Kingsborough Community College, pre-quarantine, and he found a lab where they're doing some things that made him feel ill. That joke made me ill.
I used to think of them when I saw them in the store as like these watery snakes. I knew nothing about them at all, and that when we looked further into articles, nobody did anything with the American eel. And yet it's such a huge market, this fish alone is $1 billion industry. And that's when, in 2013, we started our official work using biotechnology to save the American eel.
Save the American eel. I didn't even know there was an American eel that needed saving. Indeed, though we might not see them all that often, since they prefer to keep to dark holes and muddy water, the American eel is apparently everywhere. These fish, and yes, despite their snake-like appearance, they are fish, just long ones, live in waters from Canada on down past the Gulf of Mexico. Or at least they used to be everywhere. But overfishing, among other threats, has put the American eel at great risk. But Professor Sarwar Jahangir and his team believes the answer to overfishing might be something called aquaculture.
Aquaculture is farming of fish. Like we are farming a potato, tomato in the soil, it is in water under known and controlled condition. So if we have American eel can be spawned and grown in captivity and it can be farmed, there will be a big market for American fish farmers.
That market for fish farmers is the rest of the eel-eating world. While we might not see them in grocery stores too often in the US, eels are a major food around much of the world and are very in demand. Smoked eel in Europe, longfin eels in New Zealand, grilled eel in Korea, unagi in Japan, particularly in Japan. And if we're not going to be eating eel much ourselves in the States, you can bet we can still sell them to the rest of the world.
Most of the fish that die in nature, like salmon comes to spawn on the river and they die immediately after that. Eel, same assumption is that goes from the river to the ocean and then die. But as a farmer, I want my female fish to spawn again and again and again. And that is our achievement. We are able to spawn them multiple times in the laboratory, the same one.
And that's the big breakthrough. Getting eels to spawn and survive in captivity to do it again. Eels are a tough one for farming. It can take them over 20 years to mature, and for that matter, it's hard to even know their gender before then. And on top of that, they seem to die after breeding once. So up until this point, farming eels has mostly just meant capturing a ton of young eels in the wild, then raising them until they were big enough to ship to market. And nature simply hasn't been able to keep up with market demands. But by treating the eels with hormones, what Jahangir's team has achieved may be a game changer.
We have currently 2 eels. One survived 2 spawning sessions, another one survived a single spawning session. That alone is extremely unique because several published papers in the past have never mentioned that the parental generation survived. And then over here is our prized fish. This girl, she was able to spawn twice. So the big thing here is our research has produced unique results that counters a worldwide belief about the eel.
This is, of course, far more hands-on research than at most community colleges. But at Kingsborough, students are encouraged to engage in this sort of high-level work. And that faith has been rewarded, as Jahangir's team has since been invited to present their groundbreaking research at conferences around the world, hopefully helping not only to grow an industry, but to save a species.
From the Eel Laboratory at Kingsborough Community College, I'm Ari Goldberg for Simply Science.
An exoskeleton is basically a skeleton worn on the outside of the body for protection. In this case, it's used for strength and mobility. An engineer at CCNY, the City College of New York, has developed an ultra-light version for people with disabilities. Here's Susan Jhun.
This may look like a simple leg brace, but it's actually a state-of-the-art wearable robot designed to aid human movement.
What about the range of motion?
Professor Hao Su and his students at the City College of New York are developing the next generation of a high-performance exoskeleton, one that's breaking the current mold of the heavy, bulky, and rigid pre-programmed models.
It's the most lightweight exoskeleton and also the most compliant exoskeleton.
What makes this exoskeleton unique is that it's 70% lighter than anything on the market and more intelligent.
We use sensors to measure human performance in real time, then use this data to control the robot to maximize the human performance.
So instead of the robot moving the human moves the robot. An innovative, smaller motor design makes the exoskeleton lighter, and 3D printed fabric makes it customizable and fitted to the user, primarily people with lower limb disabilities.
In particular, people with a neurological disorder like a stroke, spinal cord injury, and people with a musculoskeletal disorder like people with knee osteoarthritis.
Dr. Su is also working with the National Institute of Health to develop a pediatric version of his exoskeleton to help children with cerebral palsy.
The exoskeleton has the potential to be a new treatment solution besides drugs and surgery.
Although the focus is primarily on people with limited mobility and partial paralysis, Dr. Su says that technology can also be used to ease the burden for those without disabilities who endure prolonged physical strain.
Using our exoskeleton, we can reduce about 10 to 15% of energetics during human walking for able-bodied population, like workers and people like soldiers.
The groundbreaking work has earned Dr. Su the National Science Foundation Career Award and landed his team a spot as finalists in the 2018 Toyota Mobility Discovery Award.
It's to help people with disabilities, and I think that's really important. It's like giving back to society in a way.
Okay, yeah.
Now that the first phase of robot development is complete, Dr. Su and his team are working on evaluating and customizing the exoskeleton for different populations. But the big question is, when will it be available to the general public? Dr. Su says hopefully in a couple of years, pending FDA approval. For Simply Science, I'm Susan Jhun.
Robots. They come in all shapes and all sizes, and someday they may live inside our bodies. Once upon a time, robots were big and clunky.
Quiet, please. I'm doing the talking.
Oh, sorry. Then they got smaller and smarter. Now, meet the microbots. They're so small.
How small are they?
The robot itself is about 30 by 70 microns, so about half a hair's width in size.
Welcome to the nano world of Dr. Mark Miskin, Assistant Professor of Electrical and Systems Engineering at the University of Pennsylvania. Your microbots are the size of a speck of dust?
Yeah, a tiny piece of dust. It's a robot that is too small to be seen by eye. 4 times the size of a red blood cell, about the size of a paramecium.
It really looked to me like the very early video game Space Invaders.
Yeah, twitchy. Yeah. No, there's definitely a Space Invaders vibe.
One day, microbots could be deployed to repair your cell phone battery, or injected into the human body on a mission to fix a damaged nerve.
So very Fantastic Voyage-y, right?
A film called Fantastic Voyage has broken through in an unexpected direction.
what are the microbots made of?
The brains of the robot are made out of semiconductor electronic materials, so mostly silicon. The legs of the robot, right, the way it moves around, are made out of these ultra-thin layers of platinum. A lot of these robots have little tiny solar cells on their bodies, and that's the way that they get energy. Basically, we can focus a laser light onto that little solar cell, zap it with energy and instructions, and then the robot receives that and does some task.
I understand you describe your job sometimes as just playing with lasers all day.
My job was described as shooting lasers at tiny robots, yes.
You see that little white dot? That's a laser spot. Now watch what happens when we start switching that laser between different solar cells on the robot. Off it goes.
And maybe someday,
you basically buy your robot online. We send you a vial with a couple 100,000 robots in it, and you look at it under a microscope and program them to do whatever you want.
Well, micro-robots live on our crops and get rid of pests. Will they tell us when we have infections, or will they fight cancer cell by cell?
The vision of having the ability to intelligently control the microscopic world, right? That's a very powerful concept.
It occurs to me that you could do a week's work, you leave it on your desk, and then the cleaning lady comes in at night and sees the dust, the tiny dust, wipes it all away. There goes your work.
Always the fear, yeah. But that's why it's in the clean room, right? It's nice and safe in there, protected from all the dust. There's no need for a cleaning lady. It's safe from the dust.
She comes in with a spray can of end dust, boom, there goes your whole project.
True, that's true, right? We've definitely had fears about this, right? As if you're doing work and you shake that table, right? Or you mix the wrong canister, that's the end of it.
Oh my gosh. Dr. Mark Miskin, thank you so much. Thanks for your time. Now, from micro-robots on Earth to a remote-controlled vehicle that's out of this world. This summer, NASA plans to send the Perseverance rover to Mars, where it will search for signs of ancient life and pick up soil samples and rocks for scientists to study. So what do you say we blast off for the Red Planet?
Hi, I'm Raquel Villanueva here at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Now, it has been a dream of scientists for generations to bring back samples from the surface of Mars. Now, right now, the Mars 2020 Rover mission is laying the groundwork for that to happen. And that's why I'm in the In Situ Instrument Laboratory with Jessica Samuels, and she's here to tell us what's going on here.
Well, we use this facility to develop and design our hardware and software systems for our Mars mission.
And how does the sampling system work?
So we have a drill on the end of our robotic arm, and as we are drilling the surface of Mars, we will be collecting pieces of Mars into the sample tube at that time. We'll then transfer that sample tube into the inside of the rover and then seal it for storage as we continue to explore the surface. After we've collected a diverse set of samples, we will drop them off onto the surface and then have them there for our future sample return mission to continue.
Well, I know you have some tests to keep doing, and I'm actually going to go check out the next phase at a different lab. We're in a testing lab affectionately known as the Sandbox, and I'm here with Austin Nicholas. Now, can you explain how we are going to bring back samples from Mars?
So starting from after 2020 has deposited tubes on the surface, there are 2 more missions to go in bringing the tubes back to Earth. The first is a lander mission. It carries 3 major elements: a sample fetch rover and a sample transfer arm that lets you transfer the samples from the fetch rover into the rocket, and a Mars ascent vehicle, which is a rocket that brings the samples from Mars into space. Meanwhile, the orbiter has also launched from Earth in 2026 and is making its way towards Mars, and it'll be in position by the time the rocket's fully loaded. The orbiter will then go to the sample container that the rocket's put into space and then capture it, ultimately bringing them to Earth in 2031.
That sounds complicated.
It is complicated, but fortunately we're not doing it alone. So we have a great partnership with the European Space Agency, and they're providing some major pieces of this mission. Within NASA, we've actually got a number of centers working on all of the different pieces. So we're partnering with Marshall Space Flight Center for the Mars Ascent Vehicle, Langley and Ames for the Earth Entry Vehicle, Glenn for the Sample Fetch Rover wheels, and we're partnering with Goddard for the orbiter payload. And so there's really it's a whole NASA effort to get Mars sample return done.
Sounds like there is a lot of work to be done, but this all kicks off with the launch of Mars 2020 this summer in Cape Canaveral, Florida. And there's lots of excitement here as we get ready to make history.
And that's our show. If you'd like to know more about NASA's summer mission to Mars, go to mars.nasa.gov/Mars2020. And you can always find us on the web at tv.cuny.edu and Facebook and YouTube. I'm Barry Mitchell, and I'm not wearing pants. See you next time on Simply Science.